Hello, beautiful viewers. Welcome to our channel, where dark love stories and forbidden romances come to life. Before we begin today's story, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me where you're watching from. Your presence makes these stories even more special. Now, let's begin a tale of love, danger, and obsession that will keep you on the edge of your seat. I never thought my life could turn upside down in a single night. One moment, I was living an ordinary life, caring for my family and chasing simple dreams. The next, everything I knew was shattered. My brother's life was taken, and the man who pulled the trigger, the city's most feared mafia boss. I should have hated him. I should have wanted revenge. Every night, I imagined standing in front of him, telling him exactly how much pain he caused me. And yet, I couldn't stop thinking about him. There was a pull I didn't understand, a dangerous fascination that crept into every thought. When fate threw me into his world, when I found myself standing in his mansion, facing the man who had destroyed my life, I realized that hate and desire could be strangers sharing the same heart. I was about to step into a life I never wanted, a life where love and danger were tangled in ways I could never escape. This story is my confession, my struggle, and my forbidden love. The night my brother died, my world stopped. I remember the call clearly. My hands shook, my heart pounded, and I could barely understand the words the officer was saying. "It's him," he whispered. "The man they call Luca Romano. Your brother, he's gone." My knees gave out, and I sank onto the cold floor, staring at the phone like it had betrayed me. I had hated Luca with all my being, and now he had taken away the one person who had always protected me. I wanted to run, to scream, to do something, but I felt frozen. My family tried to console me, but no words could reach the storm inside me. Days passed in a blur of grief and anger. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my brother's face, and I imagined the life I would take from Luca if I ever had the chance. Then, the unexpected happened. I was summoned to Luca Romano's mansion. I refused at first, disgust and hatred filling every thought, but curiosity, or maybe a force I couldn't name, pulled me there. When I walked through those massive doors, the air seemed heavier. He was standing in the living room, calm and confident, as if he had the world in his hands. Our eyes met, and for a moment, I felt something I didn't want to feel, fear mixed with something dangerously close to fascination. He spoke first, his voice smooth and cold. "You must be the sister. I've heard a lot about you." I wanted to spit, to scream, to tell him he had ruined my life. But my voice didn't come. Something inside me whispered that my story with him was only beginning. The first days in Luca's mansion felt like a nightmare I couldn't wake from. Everywhere I looked, I saw reminders of the life he had taken, the life he had destroyed. And yet, I couldn't leave. Every time I tried, something held me back, a mix of fear, anger, and the strange pull I didn't understand. Luca never treated me like a prisoner. He was polite, even attentive. It made my anger burn hotter. I wanted to hate him, to scream at him for what he had done, but every time I looked at him, I saw a man who commanded the room with just a glance, whose presence made the air feel heavier, whose eyes seemed to look right through me. I hated that I noticed these things. I hated that it stirred something deep inside me I wasn't ready to name. One evening, he called me into his private study. The walls were lined with books, and the air smelled faintly of leather and smoke. He gestured to a chair. "Sit," he said. His voice was calm, almost gentle. My hands were shaking as I obeyed. "I know what you feel," he said, leaning back. "Hate, pain, anger. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even expect you to like me. But understand this, I didn't do it to hurt you. Your brother, he got in the way." I wanted to argue, to tell him it didn't matter. My brother was gone. He had ended a life. But my voice faltered. There was a strange honesty in the way he said it, a confidence that made it impossible to look away. Days turned into weeks. Luca allowed me small freedoms, but every interaction left me more unsettled. He watched me, sometimes silently, sometimes with words that seemed harmless but carried weight. I found myself thinking about him when I shouldn't, feeling emotions I didn't want. I hated that I was drawn to the man who had taken everything from me. And then the first sign of change came. He smiled at me, not the polite, controlled smile of a man in power, but a personal, private one, like he was letting me into a part of himself. My heart betrayed me in that moment, a dangerous flutter I couldn't stop. I wanted to pull back, to remind myself of what he had done, but I couldn't. Something inside me whispered that my revenge, if it ever came, would be complicated. That the man I wanted to destroy might also be the man I couldn't resist. The days in Luca's mansion grew longer and heavier, but my emotions became more tangled than ever. Every time I tried to hate him, he did something that made it impossible. Sometimes it was a quiet word, sometimes a look that lingered too long. I caught myself watching him from across the room, my chest tightening in ways I hated and feared. One night, I wandered the hallways, unable to sleep. The moonlight fell through the tall windows, and I could hear the faint sound of music from the main room. Curiosity, or maybe something stronger, drew me closer. There he was, standing alone, his jacket draped over one arm, his expression unreadable. When he noticed me, he didn't hide his surprise. "You're awake," he said softly, a hint of something, interest, concern, maybe amusement, hidden in his voice. "I can't sleep," I admitted. The words tasted strange, even to me, because it was the first time I had spoken to him without venom in my heart. He stepped closer. "I didn't expect you to come here. No one usually dares." His eyes studied me, sharp and unyielding, but for a moment, I saw something else. Vulnerability. And it terrified me. We stood there, neither of us moving, the silence stretching long enough to make my heart pound. Then he spoke again. "You think you hate me, but you don't. You can try to fight it, but you feel it too." I wanted to scream, to tell him he was wrong, but my voice refused to come. The truth terrified me. He was right. And in that moment, the dangerous line between hate and desire blurred. That night, I realized the impossible was happening. I was falling into the same darkness that had swallowed my brother's life, and the man at the center of it was not only my enemy. He was the only one who seemed to understand me, the only one who made the fear feel like something else entirely. By the next morning, I knew one thing for certain. My life had changed forever. Luca Romano was no longer just the man who killed my brother. He was the man who could ruin me or save me, and I didn't know which path I would take. The obsession had begun, and I was powerless to stop it. The weeks that followed were a dangerous dance. Every encounter with Luca felt like walking on a knife's edge. My hatred for him, my desire for revenge, wrestled constantly with the strange pull I couldn't resist. I tried to remind myself of my brother, of the life he had taken, but every time I looked at Luca, it felt impossible to hold on to pure anger. One evening, he called me to his private room again. This time, the air was heavier, thicker with unspoken words. He closed the door behind me, and for the first time, I saw the man behind the legend. His eyes were tired, shadowed by the burdens he carried, but they held a softness reserved only for me. "I won't lie," he said quietly. "I made mistakes. I took things from you that can never be returned. But I want you to understand, everything I did was part of a life I was born into. I never wanted to hurt you." I stayed at him, feeling my resolve weaken. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times, imagining myself yelling, fighting, taking revenge. But here he was, standing vulnerable, and I didn't want to hurt him. I wanted something else, something I couldn't name. Then, without warning, he stepped closer, his hand brushing mine. The touch sent a shiver through me, and I realized I no longer wanted to fight it. My heart ached in ways I couldn't control. I wanted him, even knowing the danger, even knowing the darkness that surrounded him. I can't trust you, I whispered, my voice trembling. You don't have to, he said softly. Not yet. But I'll wait. I'll protect you, even from myself. In that moment, the lines between love and hate disappeared. The obsession that had grown inside me didn't feel wrong anymore. It felt inevitable. I didn't know what the future held. I didn't know if forgiveness was possible, or if love between us could survive the shadows of our past. All I knew was that I was trapped in a bond one couldn't escape, a bond that was dangerous, thrilling, and consuming. Luca Romano had killed my brother, but he had also captured my heart. And as I left the room that night, I understood that revenge was no longer my goal. Survival was, and survival meant embracing the man I hated, feared, and desired all at once. From that night on, my life became a dangerous game of love and obsession. Every smile, every glance, every whispered word tied me closer to him, and I knew I could never untangle myself. The mafia, the revenge, the past, all of it faded into the background when he was near. I was married to the mafia boss who killed my brother. And though my heart screamed in protest, a part of me whispered that this forbidden love, this dangerous bond, might be the only life I could survive.